Welcome to On the Couch, a regular catch-up where we discuss some of the issues facing marketing, media and advertising and hopefully provide some solutions. Today on the couch I'm joined by Jon Bradshaw, who is from Brand Traction. Welcome, Jon.
Hi, Darren.
Jon, look, there's a lot of talk about marketing growth, especially from the management consultants, but what is the role of marketing in driving growth?
I think it's really simple, despite the fact that it seems to have got lost in a massive complexity. Marketers' job is to increase the size of the customer base for any organisation that it works for. So whether that's a user, a subscriber, a shopper, a consumer, there are different words that mean the same thing in different categories. But more consumers buying more stuff, that's the job of the marketer.
Yeah, I like that definition of marketing as being to create customers and maximise the value of the customer to the business. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah, and it should keep the marketer's attention focused where it should be, which is on who those users, shoppers, consumers are, and what it is they need and want, and solving the problems that they have. And if they get that bit of the job right, the rest of it should be relatively simple.
Now, very closely associated with that is obviously measuring marketing effectiveness. And I know you've written about this recently. Why is it such a challenge, I guess?
I think the main reason it has become a challenge is the number of things we can measure has transformed exponentially. And in the 6,000 things you could now track as a marketing manager, we've lost a little sight of the 3 or 4 absolutely critical measures right at the centre of that dashboard.
Yeah, so we've got this huge dashboard and everyone's trying to look at everything, I guess.
And most of those measures are tactical, and don't get me wrong, measuring whether your tactics are effective is a critical thing to be measuring, but that really shouldn't be the thing that we're strategizing around, which is where objective setting starts.
Glad you mentioned that, because a lot of feedback we get is marketers feel like everything they're doing is tactical. So what is the role of a marketing strategy when they're often finding themselves caught up in just doing the tactics?
I think the role of marketing strategy is to take the broader objectives of the business, to translate those into the consumer or shopper or user behavior that will deliver those objectives. Analyze the situation to identify why that growth is or isn't arriving, and then to use that analysis to build a 3 to 5 year strategy and a 6 month to 1 year plan that delivers that. It's just the strategy process. Why we think marketing strategy is different to business strategy, sales strategy, category strategy, or anything else you want to put the strategy word on, it's the same thing. It's objectives, analysis, strategy, plan, evaluation.
Gives you the overall direction so that when you're doing all those tactics you don't get lost, I guess.
And the bit that's difficult is making tough choices when you get to the strategy and planning bit. How do you decide what not to do? That's always been the essence of the strategic thought, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the bit I see missed is most often the analysis bit, and the only way to make tough choices about I'm going to do this but not this is having a solid analytical foundation that gives you some data to make those choices. There'll always be choices, there'll never be a right answer or a wrong answer, but with no analysis foundation, how are you going to know which the slightly more right versus the slightly horribly wrong ones are?
Yeah. So what is the sort of core skill that a marketer needs to develop to balance those two, you know, the short-term tactical growth and the long-term strategic growth?
And I think it is a balance. I think it has to start with the skills of empathy, of really understanding who it is that you're trying to sell to, and what they need and want and desire, and what problems we can solve for them. I think it is about the skills of being able to perform a rich analysis of relatively complex data sets to understand the situation that the brand and business are facing. and the skills, the strategic skills to be able to choose ways of dealing with that analysis over a longer time horizon. Those are the strategic skill sets that we're seeing practiced less. And then couple that with these, I hesitate to say they're new, but they're certainly more talked about, skills of choosing tactics that are strategically aligned and then rapidly testing and learning whether that tactic was actually the right answer or not. Because we haven't got any better at getting the right answer. That's always been a mixture of kind of, decision, art and science, I think.
Yeah.
But what we should be able to do, especially with the fact that we've got more real-time feedback, is more rapid test, learn and iteration. But if you do all that rapid test and learn in the absence of any kind of strategic framework whatsoever, you're just throwing mud at the wall.
So apart from contacting brand traction, if there's a marketer watching this who is struggling with these issues, what would you recommend? Where's the first starting point?
First starting point's always the consumer.
Yeah.
As marketers, it's almost impossible to genuinely step into the shoes of the consumer, especially from the sanctity of the office and the kind of
or the ivory
desk.
tower.
Yeah, whatever we call that. So it is about spending time with, understanding, finding different ways of really getting under the skin of the consumer. Start there. Start by really understanding the people whose money you want and really kind of interrogating what it is that's going on in their life. The second thing is get more comfortable with the harder skills of critical thinking and strategic analysis. Spend time really understanding the landscape that you're facing, the issues and opportunities that are presented to the brand, and making tougher choices about focus. Then you can execute tactics till the cows come home, as long as they fit within that framework that you've built for yourself. But you have to find the time and the intellectual wherewithal to build the framework in the first place.
Yeah. Great advice, John. Thanks for joining us on the couch.
Good to be here.
And thank you for joining us on the couch. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more On the Couch coming soon.